Welcome to the Big Biz Show, featuring insight, analysis, and a lot of stuff that's none of your business.
Hold on. This is the Big Biz Show. I think it is their business.
Making the markets work for you. Here's the man with the plan, Sully.
Hey, they're live from the Loft 100. You're supposed to be doing that. Studios in sunny San Diego, California. Big Biz Show's on the air, BizTV. You to America, American Forces Radio Network. And who's our latest? Bloomberg?
Yes.
There you go. 15 million homes for Bloomberg Financiero. Greg got an email from a shareholder of a company called ESS Inc. or ESS Inc. Eric Dresselhuys. Do you remember the phone call? Do you remember the first?
It's like, look at this company. No. What they're doing in the battery space and being fully recyclable is revolutionizing the battery space, right?
Well, what's interesting is, talk about right place, right time, right? I mean, would you ever consider purchasing an EV yourself, like Tesla or Chevy Volt? I'm just saying, there's going to be a time, and I think that because of the political will, there's going to be a time where we're stuck on, here's your three options, and there's no gas option for you.
Yeah.
And I believe that if you are here where Eric Dresselhuys is right now, you're at the right place. He is the CEO of ESS Inc. Their stock symbol is GWH. And once again, he joins us here. Eric, talk to us about the reality of how our world's going to change because of the political will going on with respect to the environment and EVs.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to change. So I think I agree with you entirely, Sully. The political will, the mandates around decarbonization, and as we like to say in the industry, electrifying everything, those wheels are in motion. So it's just a question now of time and how fast it rolls out. If you look on a state-by-state basis here in the U.S., most states have already set their date of when that decarbonization switchover is going to happen, and it depends on the state, anywhere from 2035 to 2050.
So in your mind, can we get there by 2025, 2050? And where does the long-term, long-duration energy storage come into that equation?
Well, I think the math's pretty clear. We can get there. We have to move a lot faster than we've been moving to keep to those schedules. But I don't think there's any debate any longer that can we do it or not.
Right.
And what we do in long duration storage is one of the key things that everybody from the DOE down to the state level have started to figure out is the key to that decarbonization happening while we keep the lights on, because the number one thing that most people want out of their energy system is they want reliability, and they don't want it to cost an arm and a leg.
Right.
And that's the two things we do.
Hey, Eric, we played an asset, a package for you last time you were on the air. What is the biggest thing you took away from that with the senator, the congressman, that came in and sort of gave you the nod on everything you're doing? I mean, that was a big push. Talk about that a bit.
Yeah, well, I think that it's a combination. Of course, we talk more about the energy and decarbonization parts, but I think people are also becoming aware that where we buy the products that we're going to use to do that decarbonization is a big deal. And the fact that we're a U.S. company building products in the U.S. with U.S. materials is incredibly appealing at a political level and at a social level. So we were really delighted to have Senator Wyden and his whole team and the DOE and all of these people in our factory. And boy, that video has gotten tons of coverage. It's people are, I think, maybe a little surprised that there's actually somebody in the U.S. that's doing it today.
Eric, what's next for you guys as far as strategic goals are concerned?
Well, more. I mean, as I said, to stay on schedule, to deliver the impact that we can have on the system, we just have to go faster, right? We have to build more, we have to deploy more, we have to sell faster. It's really ramping a business across every aspect of the business at an increasing rate, and that's what we're focused on every day here.
Eric, I had an email the last time you were on, and one of the questions was about infrastructure, because of course the weight of the cars, weight of the batteries. What happens if we're stuck on the Golden Gate Bridge 10 years from now? It's all battery that weigh as much as cars do. Is that a thing, or is that just something that's some people that are trying to detract what your industry is doing?
That's not real. That's not a real thing. We've got lots of infrastructure. I mean, we have an infrastructure problem in the country in general. I think people are aware that we need to do more to build roads and bridges. And a big part of the infrastructure we need to build is the electricity grid infrastructure. I don't know. I'm sure you have lots of listeners and watchers who are based in Texas, and look at what's happening in Texas every day. They are running up against the absolute edge of what their infrastructure will support. As I saw said, this morning, their grid's been running like you had a car.
Right.
You drove at 100 miles an hour in 120-degree temperatures for a month straight.
What could go wrong? If you put a Venn diagram together on, let's say, commercial vehicles and applications, marine vehicle applications, and consumer vehicle applications, in terms of EV, when does that apparatus and confluence come together? Are we talking 10 years? Are we talking 3 years? Because it's going there, right?
Yeah, it's going there. I think somewhere less than 10, more than 3. The wheels turn. We all think about these things and wish they could happen overnight. It takes a little time for it to flow through the system, but the number of people, the amount of money that's flowing in, literally billions and billions of dollars of R&D and investment, and the curve isn't linear, right? So as we start to get to these cost points, you're going to see the traction kind of accelerate dramatically.
So Eric, I think the big rub is charging stations, right? Isn't that where the criticism comes in?
Yeah.
Hence, long duration energy storage. I mean, you're solving the problem, or are those two different lanes? Because every time you hear an issue with EV, it's because the guy that heads the Department of Energy ran out of gas when he was demonstrating going across the country. Talk about that piece of it, because it's important.
No, you're right. The infrastructure, if you think about what we're trying to do, we're trying to create an equivalent to all the gas stations in the country, and we're trying to rebuild an entirely new infrastructure for electric cars on a much, much, much more consolidated time frame. And there's two aspects of this. Of course, building the charging stations themselves is one part of it, but that's relatively easier to do.
Yeah.
The thing that people are worried about is, do we have enough electricity to support that? And it's true for cars, but it's even more true for big trucks and things. They suck a lot of juice off of the grid. And so one of the things that long duration storage is used for is to create a buffering, create the ability to then do the fast charging, which is really going to be important in my mind, because I don't know about any of your other folks that are watching, but I don't want to sit at the gas station for a half an hour or 45 minutes as it charges up. I want that to happen in 10 or 15.
Well, it depends if it's a mini mart or not, because
Yeah. Bag of Doritos as you're waiting for it to change.
Wasn't thinking about Doritos.
Okay, but I was. It's always top of mind. Eric, as far as long duration storage terms, and what do you see the next 10 years looking like?
Well, the forecasts are pretty phenomenal, right? We're talking about terawatts, tens of gigawatts to begin with, on their way to really terawatt hours of long duration storage needed. And, people have, to put that in dollar terms for people who don't speak electricity, that's upwards to a $3 trillion global investment. And that sounds like a lot, and it is a lot. But when you look at it relative to the amount of money we spend on infrastructure in general and energy in general, it's a relatively small slice of the pie to create a really big market opportunity for us.
Hey, Eric, one last question. It's about international, because at some point there needs to be some, I think we have to all get along there in terms of best practices. I mean, will the U.S. send Ambassador Rodman to North IKEA? Or no, but because I believe that U.S. has to be the tip of the spear to kind of be the cheerleader. But are we going up against, other than Germany, who once led solar energy, is the rest of the world there yet, or they're thinking about being there yet?
Well, I think that there's a lot of movement around the world. We've got big projects in Australia, in Europe, and those geographies are absolutely right up there in front with the U.S., leading the way on decarbonization and transforming the energy grid. And we're excited that we're a U.S. company building clean energy products that are getting shipped all over the world. Most of what gets built in the world of solar comes from China, and that's a real concern for people. So there's a real push to get, either domestic or what we like to call friendshored, So if we're friendly with you, we're more happy to buy products from you than if you're an adversary.
Yeah, and you know, you are the picture in the future of the old vertical integration. Remember that, where everything that you're dealing with is now one of your companies, because when you go on the acquisition trail, which you probably will at some point, you now become an enterprise-wide solution. Eric Dresselhuys, CEO of ESS Inc. Thanks, bud. Appreciate it. I'd love to get him in studio.
Yep.
Maybe we cop a battery for the
That'd be cool.
For the motorhome.
Couple of them. Yep.
Next up, we're going to visit that North IKEA, and Ambassador Rodman will be here to say a few words in a moment.
Hope he brings meatballs.
By the way, also we're having Hillary Clinton, and the best way to get a hold of her is email. Big Bishop.
No bleach pit.
I'm